Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my humble but windy home here in Livingston, Montana. Now, what do I got? I got 11, which would be November the 2nd of 2020, one day before the election. And let's see, let me just make sure my mic's on here, because I have a habit of starting up these doggone files and forgetting to turn my mic on. I've done it a dozen times. Okay, now right off the get-go, ladies and gentlemen, if you hear little background noises because the wind is really blowing outside this window. Okay, what I thought I would do is tell a funny war story. You know, when I say a war story, I'm talking about something that would have never happened to me if I would have never been in Vietnam, okay? And the reason why I'm doing that is because I've got the funniest feeling that people are kind of depressed, you know. They don't know who to vote for. They're unsure of the future. They're unsure of their living circumstances and the economy and, you know, all this kind of stuff like that. So I figured a little humor was in order here. Because here it is. In a war situation, if people tell you that every second that they spent in war was nothing but hell, and they were dodging bullets and grenades and mortars and all this, they're full of shit. Really, in a combat situation, what you've got is you've got good times and you've got bad times. You know, kind of like the old Led Zeppelin song, you know, got good times and bad times. You know, I've seen it all. Well, okay, that describes combat. You know, you got your what we used to call our up times. That's when you had to be very alert. You possibly could get attacked or you were under attack, and you know, like that. And then you had your down times, and that's where you could relax and kick back and like that. Okay, this was one of those times, and in this. Several incidents that happened, I thought I'd share it to you, maybe bring somebody's spirits up or make you laugh. And if I insult you, if you don't like this story, well, I'm sorry. I really don't care. I'm going to tell it anyway. Okay. I was stationed at a place called Phu Long. And Phu Long was about 7-8 miles south of Saigon. It was set right out in the middle of a rice paddy. It was all fenced off with concertina wire and fences and all kinds of stuff. And we had MPs at the gate. Nobody knew what we did there. But we ran all the big heavy-duty communications equipment for the United States government through Audubon satellites. Radar, you getting the picture here? Mars radios, all that kind of stuff. We had a very low-key operation because that's the way the old man wanted it. And when I say old man, I'm talking about the CO. And when I'm talking about the CO, I'm talking about the commanding officer. I did not work for some screwball Louis, a lieutenant. I did not work for a captain in 03. I worked for a light colonel. I had 2 top security clearances in military communications. It's just that simple. Okay, the way the old man run the outfit is if you didn't have duty, if you didn't have guard duty, if you didn't have any duty with the switching equipment, you know, the communications equipment, or any duty in the compound whatsoever, you could go downtown Saigon. The only thing is, the old man, the CO, wanted you to get dressed up in your khakis and look presentable, even though it was still allowed. I could still go downtown in my jungle fatigues and all that other stuff, but you know, for the most part, I'd throw on my khakis just so I wouldn't get any crap out there at the gate with all them MPs and all that. Okay, this one particular day, I wasn't really doing much. I was off. I didn't have duty or nothing. And this guy from upstate New York, a fellow soldier of mine, he come trucking up to me, you know, and he's a little short guy, about 5'2", 5'3", like this. And he had this long, beaky nose, man. I remember that, you know. I thought to myself, I used to think to myself all the time, his nose was longer than his body. But anyway, he told me, he says, he says, "What are you doing, Jim?" And I go, "Well, not much." He says, how about let's go downtown and get us some girls, because this guy here was hornier than a three-membered billy goat. Okay, you use your imagination. I don't want to get thrown off YouTube here. Woody was one of these kind of guys that was over at the dispensary every week getting a tetracycline shot because he'd get some creepy form of gonorrhea or something like that. I mean, this guy here, his moral compass needed to be adjusted a little bit, I think. But anyway, old Woody, the reason why we called him Woody, his name wasn't Woody, but his last name was like Woodenhouse or some goofy thing like that, so we just shortened it up to Woody, And so, me and him we go throw our fatigues, our khakis on and everything, and tear out the front door and get in his sickalo and go into town, boy, we're after some girls, And I'm telling and if you don't know what a sickalo is, it used to be a Honda 90. The old Papa Son would be sitting in the back, with his seat and everything like that. And there was a basket-like thing that was in the front with the wheels they would actually turn like this. Just enough room for two people to sit in there. So here's old Papa Son in the back going, and we're, you go booking down the road there. You never could go much faster than about 30, 35, 40-ish or something like that. But anyway, we go flying into Saigon and we're trying to decide where we want to go, to get these really cheap hookers, because Woody was well known. That's why he got gonorrhea all the time, for getting the cheapest hookers he could get his hands on. I mean, he wouldn't go down to Saigon Rosie's and pay like $3.50 or whatever Mama Son wanted, or pay $5 or whatever have you. Because you folks have to realize that when I hit Vietnam, 350 of their piastres, that's what their money was called, their dollars, 375 piastres equaled one of our dollars. Okay, so in other words, you can see how, we really had, us American soldiers really had a buying advantage, So anyway, we're kind of batting back and forth where we want to go, and I'm not liking the idea because Woody, I got another friend named Huey, but anyway, Woody, he just insisted. He said, "Look, Jim, we'll go over in the southeast side of town." He says, I know these apartments over there that are plumb full of hookers and ladies of the night and all that kind of stuff. And I go, "Yeah, I know. The kind that cost $1 or $1.25 or whatever have you, that kind of deal." He goes, "Oh yeah, you get some cheap loving over there, And I couldn't talk Woody out of this to save my soul. So we told old Papa Son to take us over on this nasty side of town, rats running up and down the alley. The place smelled like fish and everything. He says, "Okay, Jim, we're here. Let's hop out and go upstairs and meet the girls." And I said, No. Hey, look at here, pal. I said, "I ain't going nowhere." The long shadows were starting to come. You understand what I'm talking about? It was spooky in there and all this other stuff. And I wasn't ready to die, and I didn't know anybody in this place. Just because he did, that didn't mean I did. And so, Woody gets out of the sickle. He says, "Okay, Jim, I'm burning daylight." He didn't say that, but, I'm wasting time. I got to get up there, I'll see you back to the unit. I'll find my way back, and everybody knew how to do that. All you had to do was get a Papa Son and get a sickle, pay him a few bucks, and you were good to go. So I told old Papa Son, I said, "Didi Mao." And in Vietnamese, that means let's get gone, Didi Mao. And so I went right straight back to my unit and everything and didn't have much fun. I didn't go to any bars or none of that kind of stuff. Well, a day or so went by, and I never seen Woody. I was worried that something happened to him. I was worried about I was going to have to fess up and tell the old man that me and him went to, jump, jibing, and wailing into Saigon, and he come up AWOL or missing or something like that. I didn't want to have to be the soldier with that kind of news, not facing a light colonel I didn't. So anyway, my fears were negated because, well, I hear the cops out there. I hate that. I hate noises when I'm trying to make these doggone videos. I hear a siren back here in the distance. Anyway, where was that? Well, I was just worried about Woody because I hadn't seen him. So anyway, I'm walking across our compound, and this one in particular afternoon, it was a couple days later, and here comes old Woody, and that ground over Vietnam had a red color to it, and I could just see him with his old jungle boots on, patterned towards me. It used to make his red dust, and all that. And he comes tromping up to me, man, like if everything's all my fault, when I was the guy that chickened and bailed out of this show, But he comes up to me, and he has to look up like this, because he's a real short guy. I was 6'6" back in those days. He goes, "You know what there, Jim?" He says, "The other night when we went down that hooker's place?" And I go, "How could I forget, And he goes, "You know what happened?" He's looking up, "You know what happened to me?" And I said, "It's hard telling, Woody, hard telling with his reputation, He goes, "That bee," the nasty word for a woman, I'm not going to say it. He says, that lady of the night, she charged me a whole $1.25. And I go, "Yeah, you pay for what you get, buddy, Charge him $1.25. That was one thing that he was freaking out about. He goes, "Yeah, but that's not all of it." He told me, when he gets into the lovemaking act, she's laying in bed over there eating an apple, How you got? He's eating an apple, or she's eating an apple, and he's looking up at me like, I'm supposed to kiss him or hug him or tell him it'll be all right and everything. And I look, because I wasn't in favor of this whole program to begin with. And I looked down at him and I says, "Well, look at here, Woody." I said, she was eating her apple with what? Her left hand? Yeah, her left hand. And I says, "Well, what was she doing with the right hand? Reading the newspaper?" Hey, look at here. That didn't set with Woody at all. It didn't. He looks at me and he says, "You son of a bitch, Boren." He says, "I just knew you wouldn't understand." And he takes off across that compound with that red dust, just to smoke it out them combat boots. He gets ripped off. Listen to me. He gets ripped off $1.25, and then he ends up with an apple eater. Now, this is a true story. That's all there was to it, But I gave him crap every time I seen him, though, man, because it was worth it, Okay, I don't know if that made somebody laugh. Probably not. Everybody probably thinks I'm some kind of a pervert. But I thought that'd be some interesting tale anyway to make people laugh and whatnot have you. What do I got here? 14 minutes. Okay, I can live with that. I got to get going, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for visiting my home here in Livingston, Montana. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on down the trail. Adios, my friends, and I got to get out of here.